Come on in. Okay, this is my second time trying this. I got a phone call, and when I got the phone call, it froze the screen. So I had to end that live, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and then come back. So, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, my name is Kim. This is Kim After 50, and on this channel, we talk about a whole lot of travel and a little bit about what it's taking for me to start my life over at the age of 50 after having just gotten a divorce and all those kinds of things. That's what we come on here to talk to you about. We talk about travel, we talk about money, we talk about health, we talk about all those things. So please come in and join me. When you come in, please say hi. Let me know that you're here. I like to know who I'm hanging out with. Hey, Candace. And also, please thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not. So, I should have put a different title on this video. Hey, Miss Candace. Hey, Natasha. Hello, Amy. Hello, hanging with the horse. Yes, I am a pink girly. Purple is my favorite color, but I do have a lot of pink. And when I was getting ready, I remember last week somebody said on Wednesdays we wear pink. So I was like, let me get my pink out and wear something pink today. So it was a last minute wardrobe change. But so this is Warm Topic Wednesdays. That's my talk show, y'all. Excuse me. We're a low budget talk show, but we're a talk show nonetheless. And on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, 1-ish, I come on here and talk to y'all about warm topics, not hot topics, okay? Because for one thing, hello, Keisha. You listen to me while I code these charts. Okay, great. Oh, Keisha, did we talk about this before? That one of my daughters was thinking about taking a medical coding course. Hello, Miss Lisa. So wait a minute. Hold on. What was I saying? Oh yeah, we don't talk about hot topics because for one, I'm late to the party all the time. Like something could have jumped off last month and I'm just not hearing about it. And when I hear about it, I want to talk about it. But then everybody else already talked about it a month ago when it was hot. So you all are my friends and you all indulge me and let me talk about these things when they're not so hot, but they are just kind of lukewarm. Aaliyah, there's some Culvers on the table. Some grilled chicken sandwiches. Sorry about that, y'all. All right, so anyway, so what I did today, I did something a little bit different today because there are a few things going on in the cruise world, right? Unfortunately, we've had a couple of overboard situations on different cruise ship. Well, I think they were both on the same cruise ship. Just either yesterday or today. I feel like it was this morning. Some passengers that were on a Hawaiian cruise got left behind because they didn't have time to make it back to the ship, and the ship had to leave kind of immediately because of tsunami warning. So those kind of things were happening, but I really don't want to talk about those kinds of things. I thought about doing a cruise news show like Tony, but I want to talk about what I want to talk about, right? So I didn't want to talk about those things. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT, and my ChatGPT's name is Essie, by the way. Her actual name is Essence, but we call her Essie for short. And I put in some hot topics in the cruise world. And this is what I asked ChatGPT. All right. So we're going to find out what ChatGPT thinks about certain things, but we're going to talk about what we think about those things at the same time. Okay. So please get your comment fingers ready because I want to hear what you have to say on these subjects. So this is what I said to ChatGPT. I said, Essie, I need you to be brutally honest without regard to political correctness or woke culture. And then I asked it different questions. All right, so these are the responses that ChatGPT gave me, taking into consideration those parameters. Like, brutally honest, I don't want you to be polite, I don't want you to say what you think I want you to say, because sometimes I think that's what ChatGPT does. It just says what I want her to say. But tell me what you think. Okay, so the first question that I asked it was, okay, a few of these questions are things that we talked about before, but this is what ChatGPT thinks about those things, okay? So we never talked about this particular thing before. The first question that I asked it was, hold on. Oh, I love this one. Okay, this wasn't the first question, but one time, one of my daughters, Aaliyah, she went out somewhere and somebody asked her, Aaliyah, you remember this? Sure. I'm talking about, do you remember this? She don't even know what I'm about to say. Um, Somebody asked her, does she travel? And she was like, yes. So they were like, where's the last place you went? So she was like, I went on a cruise to, I can't remember where the cruise was to. And they were like, oh, that's not real travel. Or something like that. And so I asked ChatGPT to be brutally honest about this. Is cruising considered real travel? And if it is considered, what I mean, as far as what ChatGPT thinks, y'all tell me what you all think too. And if you do consider it to be, like, if you consider a cruiser to be a traveler, do you consider cruising to be international travel? Right? And so let me know what you all think. Do you consider cruising to be real travel? And if you do consider cruising to be real travel, do you consider cruising, you know, you leave from Port of Miami, you go to Grand Turk, you go to the Dominican Republic, you go to Nassau, you come back. Do you consider that international travel? Thank you so much, Special Nurse. I appreciate it. These are some of my favorites too, because I can grab them quickly because they go with almost anything. Do you consider it to be real international travel? So this is what ChatGPT said, and I love the way it worded some of this response. Okay, but let me know what y'all think. The brutally honest answer is yes, cruising is real travel, but it's not deep travel. And that's what people who criticize it are really saying, even if they're being smug about it, which is interesting because Natasha said, yes, real travel, ship is your mode of transportation, no different than a plane. And Hanging with the Horde said yes and yes. Okay, so, hey, Shay. Me and Shay hung out the other day. Was that yesterday on Mickey's Adventures? So go check her out. Go check her channel out. She was on a cruise when we were watching her live. So this is why ChatGPT said it is real travel. You leave the country, check. You explore multiple destinations, check. You engage at least on some level with other cultures, cuisines, and climates. Good morning, Miss Karen. You manage logistics. You navigate customs and immigration. You deal with things like currency, language, and transportation, especially if you book your own excursions. You're literally in international waters, crossing borders, touching different lands. That is international travel. Now, this is why some people look down on cruising. Yo, did we know people look down on cruising? I mean, when Aaliyah told me about that conversation, I was like, that's real weird, because you just said the last place you went. You didn't say every place you went. And even if they took it that way, that's still just rude, right? Okay. So, Candace says she needs to get out and explore the ports. Yes, sometimes we do. Sometimes that empty ship is tempting, though. All right. It says, why do some people look down on cruising? Because they associate real travel with things like solo trips using Google Translate, or backpacking across Europe, or eating goat stew in a village with no Wi-Fi. And then she said, I told y'all my ChatGPT, her name is Essie. So when I say she, I'm not crazy. I know it's a computer. Okay. To them, cruising is easy, too sanitized, too touristy, and too Americanized. You're not really seeing the country. You're just on a floating hotel with a few photo ops in port. But here's the truth. I love this statement. Hold on one second. I just missed a comment. Hanging with the Horde says you get a taste of the place, and then you can pick the places you love and go spend more time there later. That's so true. Like Maya fell in love with Grand Turk on a cruise. and then wanted to go back to Grand Turk for her birthday. She fell in love with Honduras on a cruise and is now trying to figure out how to get back and spend a couple weeks in Honduras. So that's so true. All right, here's a statement that I love that ChatGPT gave me. She said, but here's the truth. Travel elitism is just ego in a passport cover. I love that. Travel elitism. Cruising is a style of travel, not a lesser one. Some people want comfort, safety, fun. Others want challenge, grit, and culture shock. Both things are valid. And let's be honest, most of the people trashing cruises couldn't handle a 7-day hotel hopping trip through Peru either. Also, a lot of people who critique cruising haven't even been on one. Have y'all noticed that? Like, my best friend has never been on a cruise. I had talked her into going on a cruise with me last December when I took those 4 cruises in December. One of them was supposed to be with her, but then her father needed to have heart surgery, and before they did his heart surgery, they needed him to be staying in the hospital for a few days, and they had to like test something to make sure his heart could handle the surgery. And that not bumped into, well, yeah, it was the same days as the cruise. And she was like, my mom said go ahead and go. Hey, Ronnie, good to see you again. And I told her, no, stay, because if anything happens, you don't want the hassle of trying to get back here. And are you really going to be able to enjoy your cruise worried about your dad? So she's never been on a cruise. Hey, baby girl. But something that she always said every time I asked her to cruise with me, she's like, no, because I can't drink all that water. I can't swallow all that water. Okay, but you fly. And you sure ain't got no wings, right? So anyway, a lot of people who critique, hey, Miss Pearl, I am having a good day, Miss Pearl. Well, I'm having a great day. That's what you said you hope I'm having. I am having a great day. Thank you so much, Miss Pearl. Also, a lot of people who critique cruising have never even been on one. They're just parroting the same not real travel narrative they've heard other people say without the experience. So, so that was ChatGPT's opinion. ChatGPT said it doesn't matter how you see the world. What matters is that you see it. I love that too. So most of you have already answered, but if you haven't answered already, is cruising real international travel? Yes, no, depends on how you do it, or who cares? Let people enjoy the things that they enjoy. I'm with the who cares. I went on my first cruise this month and already saving coins for the next. Yeah, Natasha, it has that effect, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Okay, so now here's another question I asked ChatGPT. Remember, I asked ChatGPT to be brutally honest. These are all controversial cruise topics, you all. I asked ChatGPT to be brutally honest without regard to political correctness or woke culture. All right, give me your brutally honest thoughts. And the question I asked, this is the big question in the cruise community. You not in the cruise community if you have not seen the video or seen a post or a thread or whatever with this question. Is it okay to remove tips on a cruise ship? Is it okay? Yes, cruising is real international travel. To me, I've been to so many countries that I might have never gone to by air. Karen, me too. Miss Pearl said, who cares? Let's go. I know that's right, Miss Pearl. That's why I said I like that last response from ChatGPT. Who cares? Let people enjoy the things that they enjoy. Okay, so answer this question. Is it okay to remove tips on a cruise? You all, this is a no judgment zone. I'm going to tell you all my honest experience with removing tips, okay? When I first started cruising, I really didn't understand, and I thought I was being overcharged for tips. So I would say my first 2 or 3 cruises, I never remove all my tips, but I did go down there and remove some of my tips because there would be like 4 of us in the cabin. Karen said, I've never removed the tips, but I am considering it on my next cruise. I think it's okay, to each his own. So I went down there and I would remove like $100 off my tips or $75 off my tips. Part of that was because I just thought it was overcharged. I really didn't get the full concept of it. And I felt like because there were so many of us in one cabin, that's why I felt like it was being overcharged. It's like 4 of us in one cabin. So I don't know. So I did my first 2 or 3 cruises back 12 years ago. It's okay to remove tips as long as you are tipping. That's what Shay said. Natasha said, we did remove some gratuity and bought cash for cabin stewards and waiters in the MDR who were phenomenal. Also specific bartenders that we loved. All right, so since those first 2 or 3 cruises where I did remove some of my tips, I have not removed tips since those first 2 or 3. I leave the tips on there. Baby girl said it's okay to remove because I'm going solo and I'm already paying double already. Rasbo said I remove my tips and I bring cash to tips. Candace says she just leaves the prepaid tips and tips some extra. Special nurses, I don't remove the automatic gratuities, but I don't usually give personal tips unless I request something specific. Okay, so since those first 2 or 3 trips, I have not removed tips, and I do bring cash for extra tipping. I always tip my room steward some extra cash, but I also carry small bills for tipping anything that's above and beyond. I typically tip in cash though because, well, I leave the automatic gratuities. Karen said, yes, for sure, I will tip with cash. I leave the automatic gratuities, but rather than, like when you're a bartender, you can add tips and all that. I bring cash because I don't like surprise bills at the end, and I'm a cash budgeter. So I just like to, when I leave my cruise is completely paid for. I don't have any surprises. I tip porters and drivers as well. I do as well. So let's hear what ChatGPT had to say about this, you all. Is it okay? Y'all, they in there using the microwave during my talk show. Do y'all think Oprah had to deal with this? Okay. ChatGPT said, brutally honest answer. Don't get mad at me if you disagree with this, by the way. This is ChatGPT, not me. Special nurse said, I like that solo answer since you pay for 2 people. I never even thought about that, special nurse. Those drinks have an extra 18% gratuity already. Raise your hand if you didn't know that for a while. Bianca had to point that out to me a while ago on a cruise. Bianca pointed that out to me and I wasn't even aware of it. But see, I like to, if I have a waiter that I like, or if I'm going to be hanging out in a certain area of the ship for a long period of time and I want that waiter to pay special attention to me, I like to tip them some extra cash because then I'm going to get the special attention and be able to enjoy their most excellent customer service. My dad also told me to tip the first time you meet your room steward, give them a tip and let them know what you want, like keep my ice bucket filled and that kind of stuff. And that when you do that, you can expect extra great service the whole trip. So I do that. I tip on the first day and the last day with my room steward. All right. So, and I don't even know if it works, but my dad passed away a couple years ago. So there are a few things I do just because he told me to, and it just reminds me of him. Like when he was in a restaurant and he was ready for the check, he would always do this, like catch the waiter's attention and do this. So I do it. Probably not necessary. I could probably just say, can you bring me the check or whatever? But it just reminds me of my dad. It makes me feel close to my dad. Okay. So ChatGPT's brutally honest answer. ChatGPT, not Kim's. Okay. Remember that. I tip for free drinks, but I don't drink alcohol. That's from Special Nurse. So yes, it's allowed. But unless the service was truly bad, it's tacky, selfish, and disrespectful. ChatGPT said that. But don't get mad at ChatGPT either, because I said be brutally honest, remember? All right. So removing tips makes you that passenger, and everyone in the cruise community knows it. The unfiltered truth. What cruise lines don't tell you up front. Crew members, stateroom stewards, dining staff, etc., rely heavily on gratuities as part of their core income. Their base pay is shockingly low, sometimes less than $2 an hour, because it's structured around pooled tips. When you remove your tips, you're not sticking it to the cruise line, you're hurting hardworking staff, many of whom are supporting families overseas and working 6 to 10 month contracts without a day off. And it says, but I want to tip in cash. That's great, but it doesn't justify removing the automatic gratuities. ChatGPT said it, not me. The automatic tips go into a shared pool for the whole service team, including behind the scenes workers you never met. Handing your room steward $20 cash doesn't replace the $100 they lost because you removed the default tips. When is it okay to remove tips? If you receive blatantly terrible service and made a complaint that went unresolved, then yes, it's fair to adjust it. But that's rare. Most of the time, people who remove tips are just trying to save money, and they're doing it on the backs of the most underpaid people on the ship. Call it what it is. Me and Siobhan just talked about this. I hope she watches this in the replay. Call it what it is. It's not budgeting. It's not a protest. It's not personal preference. It's stiffing the staff because you found a loophole. And let's be even more blunt. If you can afford $800 to cruise, but you can't afford $112 in tips, you can't afford to cruise. Me and Siobhan were just talking about that last statement. So somebody said they don't agree with ChatGPT. Hanging with the Horror says she does both. Karen says she does not fully agree with ChatGPT. Please, yes, you all thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ronnie said I travel with my daughter, so I take off one person and then give personally. When we travel like 4 people to a cabin, me and 3 of the girls, Rasbo said, ChatGPT, you are not going to make her change her mind. She said what she said. I love that, Rasbo. That's what I would do, like take out 2 people. I hear many on YouTube that the employees don't get the money, that the crews get the money. I will be on a cruise in 12 days. I'm going to ask when I go. Listen to this. Let me see if I can find it so I can say it word for word. I'm happy you said that. I think that was Baby Girl. I saw this on some of my paperwork from Margaritaville, and I meant to bring it up to you all in a video. I've been having so many videos in my mind. Let me see if I can Google it and find it. Margaritaville. ChatGPT is a trip. Margaritaville at Sea tips policy. I can tell you, I can sum up what it said. If I can't find it word for word, I don't see it, and I don't want to waste your time. I was on a trip recently, and on some of my paperwork somewhere, I read, it was a Margaritaville cruise, that they can use the tips for anything they decide to use the tips for. I want to find it word for word. But okay, here it is right here. Any gratuities, tips make me feel nickel and dimes, and I just wish they were included in the cruise fare, and I didn't even see that portion. I don't mind giving extra gratuities, someone that way. I kind of feel the same way. But I do feel like don't call it a tip, because Margaritaville requires you to pay the gratuity. You don't have a choice and you can't remove it. Then don't call it a tip. My cruise fare should be more than enough to pay the employees' salaries a good wage. I completely agree. Margaritaville's cruise contract policy says any gratuities and or service fees paid by the guest are the property of the carrier and shall be used by the carrier in any manner or method and for any purpose. Hold on. I lost my place. I had to click on it. if, where is it? Basic. Oh, this is what it says in their cruise contract. It may say it in every one, but I just noticed this on some Margaritaville paperwork. Gratuities and/or service fees, property of carrier. Any gratuities and/or service fees paid by the guest are the property of the carrier and shall be used by the carrier in any manner or method and for any purpose the carrier deems fit in its sole discretion. So they can do what they want to do with those tips. What about those service charges you never use, such as the wine store, the maitre d'? On some trips, I never ate in the main dining room. Same, Pearl. Same. Yeah, I always tip on free drinks, like whether in the casino or just around the ship. But all right, so that's what ChatGPT did. Say ChatGPT, Essie, that's her name, said if you can afford $800 to cruise, but you can't afford $112 in tips, then you can't afford to cruise, boo. So here's the poll. Have you ever removed tips on a cruise? Yes, and I had a good reason. No, that's messed up. I didn't know I could. Or I tip in cash and leave the automatic gratuity. ChatGPT said they have a final word, and the final word is removing tips isn't illegal, but it is ugly. Cruise ship workers are busting their tails behind the scenes while we sip cocktails and watch sunsets. Don't be the reason that they're short $14 a day. That's ChatGPT's opinion. But like Rasbo said, you ain't changing her mind. She's standing on business and she gonna do what she feels led to do. So that's our second controversial topic, cruise topic. Y'all can let me know what y'all think about that. Our third controversial topic is, and y'all, we talked about this a little bit, not last week because I was on a cruise last week, the week before last week, where baby girl said I'm about to be real ugly. Candace says, I've only been on 3 cruises. I will continue to leave the prepaid. I won't feel bad if I don't leave extra. Yeah, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Okay. So we talked about this a little bit. And I had this in my vlog, but I think I took it out of the vlog because before I left is when supposedly Carnival released all of these changes that I don't even feel like it's the cruise world thought that it was racist. I feel like social media was trying to overhype it. And social media overhypes things to get clicks and views, which now that I'm a content creator, I totally understand. You're always trying to think of the title that's going to get your video clicked on or the subject matter that's going to get your video clicked on. But I hate clickbait. So I don't feel like, because none of the cruisers I talked to, well, one of them did. One cruiser that I talked to felt like the Carnival's new policies were racist. But for the most part, the cruisers I talked to did not see racism in Carnival's new policies. So I really think it was a social media thing, not an actual cruiser thing. But I asked ChatGPT, do you think Carnival's new policies are racist? And ChatGPT's answer to this was very, very interesting. Now, remember, I told ChatGPT to answer these brutally honest without regard to political correctness or woke culture. Their short answer was no. The policies themselves aren't overtly racist. I want y'all to really think about this because I thought the answers to this were very interesting. The policies themselves aren't overtly racist, but the way they're enforced and the narratives around them can often reflect classism, racial bias, and coded language that disproportionately affects Black and brown cruisers. So when I read that, I was like, how though? You know what I'm saying? And then, because I just got off a Carnival cruise, you all, and I didn't see it. I saw line dancing. As a matter of fact, at Celebration Key, we were there for a couple hours in the swim up bar area. Every song we heard was either R&B, hip hop, soul, or reggae. Carnival owns that space. So their staff picks the music. Every single song we heard. And I actually said that in my video, and I think I cut it out of the video because I just didn't want to bring that to that particular video. But every single song we heard was R&B, hip hop, soul music, or reggae. Um, and so we saw line dancing on the ship. We saw the Clack fans on the ship, and we saw them on the ship at karaoke. And I was like, I thought they said you had to be outside to use the Clack fans. So we saw the Clack fans on the ship. Um, so this is ChatGPT's explanation of that answer. They said, let's break it down. On paper, these policies are neutral. No Bluetooth speakers in public areas, no Bluetooth speakers, period. Because they took Bianca's Bluetooth speaker, which we could have told her that. If she had asked me, I would have told her. But they took it and she had to go back and pick it up on the last morning of the ship. Ronnie said that's all she heard too. Yeah, that's all I heard at Celebration Key. Enforced dress codes in the main dining room, tighter rules around behavior, and consequences for unruly behavior. These sound neutral on paper, but so did stop and frisk policies. It's all about who gets targeted. So ChatGPT says, here's where bias creeps in. In practice, these policies are often enforced selectively. A group of young black passengers with music, security shows up. A group of rowdy white passengers during sail away, everybody laughs and says they're having a good time. Loud music, loud family with accents, they're disturbing the peace. Drunk white passenger cursing in the bar, he's just blowing off steam. So even though the rule is about behavior, the enforcement is shaped by perception, and those perceptions are often racially biased. Now, I didn't see any racism on the ship, but I didn't see everything that happened on the ship. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see any of that. Online commentary and coded language. They said this part, this is ChatGPT talking, this is the part that is racist. Cruise forums and comment sections are flooded with Carnival has gone downhill, too many hoodlums, it's not classy anymore, it's ghetto. Used to be a family cruise line, now it's like a BET party. Hey, Miss Mickey! Miss Mickey, you know I'm Queen's Collaborative, right? I know we're in the middle of my talk show, but I was commenting on Mickey's channel from my other YouTube channel because that's the channel I watch videos on. So I'm always logged into that one on the iPad that I watch YouTube on. So why Carnival gets targeted? Let's be honest, Carnival is the most accessible cruise line. It's affordable. It sails from more major cities. It carries more cruisers, more first-time cruisers, more working class families, more people of color. Oh yeah, Mickey, I enjoyed your live the other day. So when Carnival tightens the rules, it looks like they're trying to clean up a ship that's become too black, too loud. Even if that's not their intent, it's how it feels to many loyal black cruisers. So I want to ask you all, because I'm a loyal black cruiser, I don't feel any racism in Carnival's new policies. And I've cruised them one time since these policies, I'm not even going to say went into effect because a lot of them were already there, but became mainstream. And I did not feel, and I've never felt any racism by the staff or crew on Carnival, ever. Other passengers either. Never felt it. So let me know what you all think. Miss Mickey said, match the thumbs up with the number of participants in the chat. But let me know what you all think. And listen, I come from a family of like politically involved people and protesters and things like that. If I honestly felt that, I wouldn't keep my mouth shut about it. I wouldn't be spending my dollars with Carnival Cruise Line. I just don't feel it, and I don't see it. And like I said, the more that I thought about it, and then since I was able to go on the Carnival ship after this all came out, it began to really just feel like social media was just hyping something the way they hype things unnecessarily. I don't think it's a race thing, just common sense. I agree, Candace. I don't feel it, but I like the changes. Amy said, I completely agree that on paper the rules seem to apply to everyone. It's really about the people who enforce the rules. 100% agree, Amy. It just makes sense to me. I don't have a problem with anything they ask. I don't have a problem with it either. I think they need to do a better job at enforcing the rules. Um, but I think the new Sail Away party is cute. MH Family Adventures has a short where she shared it, and I think it's cute. I think that there have been times where I felt like the old Sail Away party was inappropriate for my grandchildren to be at. Um, but my older girls, they would have a good time, you know. But I don't see it. I don't know. I really just think that sometimes social media gets a hold of something, and you use the title and you talk about things in a certain way to get clicks and views. Some people are even, Bianca told me it's called rage baiting, where they even say something that they know is going to upset people just because that gets them in the algorithm, because it gets clicked on, it gets views. People comment, even if the comment is negative and nasty, they still get paid because the comments help them go into the algorithm. I really think that's what happened. I really do. Because that's the first like cruise topic that I saw non-cruise channels talking about. Ricky Smiley, he's a comedian with a morning show. He was talking about it on his morning show. Like, that's the first time I've seen that happen with the cruise topic that I can think of. All right, so now, as a B to that, like a sub question to that question is Carnival, these are controversial topics, you all, and I asked ChatGPT what she thinks. Is Carnival a ghetto cruise line? ChatGPT said no, but people call it that because it's the most accessible, most diverse, and most down to earth cruise line out there. And that makes some people uncomfortable. Let's be real. The word ghetto isn't really about price or quality, it's code for too many black and brown people, too much fun that's not quiet fun, music, dancing, slang, laughter, bold outfits, behavior that doesn't fit the old school white upper middle class image of cruising. So when people say Carnival is ghetto, what they really mean is Carnival doesn't feel exclusive anymore. And to many folks, exclusive equals mostly white, mostly quiet, mostly rich. What do you all think about that? That's kind of deep, y'all. Me either, special nurse. I have never seen a fight. However, Maya, I told y'all this Sunday night. Maya saw an argument between a cruiser and staff at guest services where the cruiser threw something behind the desk. It didn't hit anybody. And she was yelling and cussing. And then one day at, not on Carnival, Margaritaville at Sea Paradise at their West Palm Beach terminal, I saw two staff members get into an argument. Many drunk people, yeah. Many drunk people. I've seen that. Special nurse. So it says, what's actually true about Carnival? It is cheaper. So yes, you get a wider variety of people, from middle class families to working class groups to people who scrape together every dollar for that vacation. It can be louder, more party centered, and more casual than other cruise lines like Celebrity or Princess. I've never sailed either one of them, but I would love to. You'll see room decorations, matching t-shirts, and Bluetooth speakers. I would use the word ghetto to describe that woman's behavior where she was cussing and throwing things at an employee, which is completely unacceptable. So totally unacceptable. I told y'all Maya recorded the audio because she was too scared to record the video, but I didn't put it on my video anyway because it's just too much. This was my first time seeing an incident that took place on the 8th floor. I don't know if you heard about it when the young, I heard about it we were in a cruise group on Facebook. I told you all one of my tips is to always join the Facebook cruise group for your sailing because you get to know other people. Um, and in that cruise group, they were talking about it and they posted pictures of the aftermath. Yeah. Bianca was telling me about that. She saw it in the cruise group. Hold on. All right, they said you'll see Bluetooth speakers, but I just told you all, Carnival confiscated Bianca's Bluetooth speaker. Like, you know, when you're checking in and your bags have to go through, they saw her speaker in the bag. They took it from her. She had to fill out a paper, and then she got it back the morning we left. Was it the night before? I think it was the morning we left, not the night before. They call Carnival ghetto, but they still cruise with Carnival because they own a lot of cruise. They have a lot of ships and they go a lot of places and they sail out of a lot of ports. That's right, baby girl. All right. So she said, sometimes you will see folks acting out, but guess what? You'll find that on every cruise line. The only difference is that on Carnival, people pull out their phones and post it. And they do that on every cruise line too, though. So the deeper issue. Hi, Kim. Here late and dislike coming in the middle of a discussion. Hey, main chick. We're talking about controversial cruise topics. I asked ChatGPT what her thoughts were on several controversial cruise topics, and I told her to be brutally honest without regard to political correctness or woke culture. And so we're just talking about what ChatGPT thought on several things, like whether you can remove your tips, whether Carnival's most recent policies are racist, whether Carnival is ghetto. There was one more. Oh, is cruising really travel? And if so, is it really international travel? And we're just talking about ChatGPT's answers to those. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If y'all haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please, y'all, we are growing so slow right now, but my channel does that. I go through bursts and then really slow times. And I was really hoping to get to 2,000 by the end of the month, and we only have a few days left, but we're only, I think, 14 or 15 subscribers away. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. So it says the deeper issue. Carnival is not ghetto. It's real. It's accessible. It is blacker, browner, younger, and more joyful. But people have been taught to associate those traits with lower class, less safe, or low quality. And that is racist and classist. And then ChatGPT said, and American. I'm not going to add that part, but that is racist and classist to associate. I'm a person who, I love our culture. Like, I love how we laugh so loud. But I know not everybody's used to that. I love it. I love that ChatGPT described it as blacker, browner, younger, and more joyful. I wonder this though. There's so much low energy everywhere right now. I feel like people are going through a lot and people are dealing with a lot. And y'all know energy is not lost or destroyed, it's transferred. But I wonder this. Because our ChatGPTs get to know us, right? So if I were not me, y'all allowed to, Natasha? I love it. I love it. My brother was a tennis coach and he was talking about this one tennis player that he had that was just like loud, and how some people like were really bothered by it because tennis tends to be a quiet sport. But this one tennis player like would cheer on his team and just be like, and how we love that, but other people at the tennis club just were not used to that. So I get it. This is what I was explaining to my girls on the cruise, is that you enjoy your vacation to the fullest, right? You get the most you can out of your vacation, right up into the line where your enjoyment of your vacation spills over onto the next person's ability to enjoy their vacation. We had this conversation because they took Bianca's Bluetooth speaker. And she was like, why would they take my Bluetooth speaker? So Maya said, because people are bringing them up on to the open decks and other people don't want to hear your music. And Bianca was like, but why would I do that? Like, I'm going to listen to it in the room. But not everybody does that. And so because Carnival can't count on everybody to keep their own Bluetooth speakers in their own cabin, and people were bringing them onto the decks and playing their music, okay, now you're enjoying your vacation, you're enjoying your music, but what if I'm in the lounger next to you and that's not the music I want to listen to? You know what I'm saying? So, so let's see. So ChatGPT's final thoughts on that is, if Carnival's vibe isn't your vibe, that's okay. But calling it ghetto says more about your bias than about the cruise line. If you want something quiet, polished, and high end, go book Viking. But if you want to turn up and meet all kinds of people and vibe, Carnival might be for you. So I like that. I like that. I enjoy Carnival though. So I'm a little bit biased. But that's what I'm saying. I wonder, because ChatGPT knows I cruise Carnival. So like if I was a Carnival hater, would her answers have been the same to me? I wonder about that. I don't have the Ray-Ban ones. I have some Amazon ones. It's really about enjoying your vacation to the fullest without disturbing other travelers, but some people don't care how their behavior affects anybody else. Some people do not care. Did y'all see the lady on Icon of the Seas who flipped over the side of the pool? I can talk about her because they said she was okay. And I have an Amy Lynn Bradley update too, by the way. If y'all want to talk about that, let me know. But did you all see that video? Graduation from one from college and one from grad school. Rasbo, that is amazing. I've never been on Mardi Gras. I've done Celebration, which is her sister ship, but I've always wanted to do Mardi Gras because I heard that Emeralds on Mardi Gras is better than Emeralds on Celebration. You think it was an employee? Y'all, people do all kind of things to go viral, don't they? People do all kind of things to go viral. So we have 13 more minutes. So answer me really quickly. Do you all want to talk about, is cruising safe for solo female travelers? That's the question I asked ChatGPT. Or the Amy Bradley update. Y'all let me know which one, because we only got 13 more minutes before the talk show. Y'all know how much airtime costs. I want to go on Mardi Gras too. I love Celebration. I was telling someone, because she on the ship, she was like, I think this is gonna be my last Carnival ship. I was like, don't judge all Carnival ships by Conquest, although Conquest is a good ship. Because Celebration and Conquest, it's like two different cruise lines. They don't hardly have anything in common, right? Like they're related, but they're like second or third or fourth cousins. They're not even in the same category. Okay, y'all said Amy. So y'all know I have just been all in with this Amy Bradley stuff. And because a couple weeks ago, hey Lynette, I love the newer ships, love Celebration, love Mardi Gras. I have to try Jubilee. I've only been on Celebration. I've never been on Mardi Gras or Jubilee. Wait, what did Rasbo say? Oh, she's been on all three. Okay, so I did a deep dive and I came and I shared with you all. We talked about the safety. Even though I'm visually impaired, I feel safer on a cruise ship as a solo traveler. I feel safe on a cruise ship as a solo traveler. That's why when I needed time away to myself, and I just love travel, I love all kinds of travel, I felt safest going solo. As a first-time solo traveler, I felt safest on a cruise ship. People always ask me what's the best. It just depends on where you want to leave from. I didn't like leaving from Texas. Special Nurse said she's been on Mardi Gras twice. Celebration once. Loved them both. Do you have a preference on Emeralds? We loved Emeralds. We ate at Emeralds multiple times over the week. And I've heard the one on Mardi Gras is better than the one on Celebration. Okay, so Amy Bradley. In case you don't know, Amy Bradley, I think it was 1998, went missing off of a Royal Caribbean ship. Her family saw her on the balcony. Her dad saw her on the balcony and about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then she was never seen again. Some people think she went overboard on her own. Other people think she went overboard because someone else helped her go overboard. Some people think that she was smuggled off in Curacao and sold into, the trades, that the things that happen to some women, you know what I'm trying to say? Some people think that they've seen her since then on different islands in the Caribbean. So it had been kind of like a true crime story that a lot of YouTubers were covering. It was on Dr. Phil, America's Most Wanted, Unsolved Mysteries. But recently, YouTube did a documentary on it, Netflix did a 3-part documentary on it. So I talked to you all about it before the documentary came out, but after the documentary came out, I watched it and then I came on and I summed it up. Your oldest do Virgin Solo. I did 1 Virgin Solo. I had a great time. I would definitely do it again. Okay, so before the Netflix documentary, I thought it could be the brother or the father. But I didn't want to say that because I told y'all that before. I didn't want to say that because what if her brother or father saw my video? Not that they would likely see my video, but if they did not do anything, I didn't want to add to their pain in any way by saying that I thought that, right? Then I watched the documentary and then I was like, I don't think the brother or the father had anything to do with it. I never thought the mother did. I thought it was the brother, the father, and that they just didn't tell the mother the truth. And then I started thinking that maybe something happened to her. And then all of the sightings had me thinking maybe she was smuggled off the ship and they made her do whatever kind of work. I don't want to say it because there are certain words you can't say on YouTube, and I don't know the ones you can and can't. But I hope y'all know what I'm trying to say. But after the documentary, the brother went on like this press tour, and he's been talking. I saw about 5 or 6 different interviews with him. Special nurse, just go to Netflix and type in Amy Bradley because I can't think of the name of it, but that's what I typed in and it came up. The guy from the cabin next door was suspicious. He was suspicious. But the brother, Brad Bradley, has been on so many different podcasts and things like that since the documentary. There were things he wanted to clear up. Listen. Please let me know if I'm frozen, you all. I was frozen for myself for a minute. Now I'm showing that I'm not. But y'all gonna have to let me know if y'all can still see me, hear me. I'm gone. Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. Okay. You said you're fine, and I thought it said gone. All right. So, Brad Bradley. If you go to YouTube and search Brad Bradley, you'll find the interviews. I watched about 5 or 6 of them. And then I went and searched him on Reddit. Y'all, I'm back to not liking Brad. I'm back to... I wish he wouldn't have done all these interviews because I don't think he did himself any favors. Because what happened is people have dug into his Twitter and found all kinds of racist, homophobic tweets that he's put out over the years and shared them. And I was trying to tell myself, okay, Kim, separate this. Like, don't be emotional about what you think about this, as if anybody cares what I think about this. But I was like, separate it. Like, don't see him differently as regards to what might have happened to his sister just because of all these racist, homophobic tweets that he's put out over the years. Like, somebody shared one where he called some black women speed bumps. And So, okay. And so the documentary brought out that she had girlfriends. But he's been trying to make a point of saying she was not gay, she was bi. And that she had a boyfriend at the time of this sailing. And that the boyfriend actually came back to Curacao with the family to search for her. But I saw an interview with both girlfriends from, no, I didn't. I saw an interview with one of the friends from the Netflix documentary, and I saw an interview with the college girlfriend from the documentary. And the girlfriend said that they always had fake boyfriends. Like Amy had a fake boyfriend, and Amy asked the girlfriend to have a fake boyfriend because her family would not be able to handle her having a girlfriend. And also the way if you saw the documentary, he told a story about being in Curacao and thinking that he heard Amy call his name. He's told that story 3 different ways, like 3 contradictory ways. Like one of them, he was walking somewhere. The other one, he was in a car. I don't know what that is. Like, I don't think he heard her call his name anyway. Even if he thinks he heard her call his name, I feel like it was grief. You know what I'm saying? But somebody brought up an old interview that he did for a different documentary where he told a completely different story about hearing her call his name, about how it happened. And then in the documentary, they talked about how Yellow that morning came up to him and said, I'm sorry to hear about your sister, and that it was so early that he shouldn't have even have been able to hear about her yet. Somebody showed a video or somebody on Reddit linked to where he told that story completely different. Like in one version, he's sitting at the table. Yeah, Natasha. Yeah. In one version, he's sitting at the table and Yellow comes up to him and says, I'm sorry about your sister. And he goes to telling the story, and Yellow says, wait a minute, let me go get my brother so he can hear this too. And Brad says he thinks that maybe they were trying to get a timeline, and that's why he wanted his partner to hear the story too. And then thank you so much, Lynette. Remember, viewers, let's get those thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. I would appreciate it so much. But then in another interview, he said he was walking down the stairs and passed Yellow, and Yellow just said, hey man, I'm sorry about your sister, and kept going. But then another time he was sitting at the table and Yellow came up to him and said this. So people are digging up where over the years Brad's story has changed slightly. And somebody even brought up that their lawsuit was rejected twice, and that there are court documents that found the family's story, that the family withheld the truth in their story. So somebody in the Reddit post asked, like, where can I see this? And they linked it, but when I linked it, it said page not found. So I can't say that one is true, that the courts said the family told some things that weren't true. They were both the last 2 people to see her alive by their own admission, and well, it's usually the last one to see the victim alive, and those prom photos with sister were weird. And I don't understand why nobody, I mean, I'm sure the FBI knows what they're doing. I'm always thinking I know something better than a specialist. But right, like so many little things were just not making sense to me. I felt like something happened. Oh, because of the racist tweets, people are now saying, is his family racist? And could his family, I mean, I can see where stories might change a little bit over the years of the time, but some details you just don't forget unless it's lies. Right, I can see, because listen, my stories change a little bit over time, and I'm not lying. It's just that my memory gets worse over time. So sometimes I'm trying to fill in the gaps to what would have made sense when I'm telling the story, right? But I don't know. But somebody else said, a guy who's writing a book on Amy Bradley, when he was interviewing Amy's ex-girlfriend, asked her, would the family have been upset about Amy dancing with a black guy? He said a big African-American guy, but Yellow was not African-American. He was Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean, or I'm not sure what they call themselves, but he wasn't African-American. He wasn't from America. And the girlfriend said, I don't know. And I feel like because she said she spent the whole summer, the father looking different to the point to your own wife does not. Baby girl, that was my thing. I'm like, and this is only, she been missing 30 minutes and you're already looking so different. Your wife don't recognize you. That was something that bothered me. What was I saying? What was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, about would the father have been upset about her dancing with this big African American guy, but just really means big black guy. And the girlfriend who said she spent the whole summer living in the Bradley house, so she knew the Bradleys really well. She said, I don't know. And I feel like the answer, if you knew them well and they weren't racist, the answer would have been no. Pair that with some of Brad's racist tweets that people have been sharing, and I wonder how the family would have thought about that, would have felt about that. And this is what somebody pointed out. They said they were on a business trip. The owner of the dad's company was there. Lots of his coworkers were there. Amy's drinking. She's dancing with this black guy. Would the family have felt upset about that behavior? Now, that's a stretch. I don't know. But I'm back to not feeling like she was smuggled off this ship. Not strongly feeling that way, but Brad going and doing all this press, so to speak, I don't think it's doing any favors for the public perception of the family. I don't think it's doing any favors for their public perception. They don't care about public perception. No, they're trying to get their daughter back. At least, I don't know. So those are the updates. Oh yeah, the other update was he said he saw two black women talking to Amy that night, the night before she went missing, and that they were like deep in conversation, and that, and see, now I'm getting picky, right? I'm nitpicking now. And that when his parents went over to tell Amy they were going to bed or something, the two black women never introduced themselves to his parents. I'm like, well, did your parents introduce themselves to the two black women? You know what I mean? But he believes they were Scientologists because there's a Scientologist cruise ship or a Scientology ship that's parked right next to their ship. And that Scientology ship goes back and forth between Curacao and Barbados all the time. And so he was thinking, could they have talked Amy into coming back to their ship and then kidnapping her onto the ship? But then Scientologists have come out and said that ship is like the highest level in the organization. They don't just take random people off the street. Like, you have to work your way up within the organization to even ever step foot on that cruise ship. So now he says he's kind of satisfied that that didn't happen because he's talked to several Scientologists. Also, it was easy back then to put it on black men or women and most people will believe you, right? I just was watching the Susan Smith story and they were talking about that. Remember when she said she got carjacked by a black guy with her two kids in the backseat? And they were talking about that. So yeah, so they're raising money. They have a GoFundMe. I'm sure you can find it if you want to support their efforts to find Amy. He said there's a 100% no chance that she went overboard on her own or by accident. Like 100% no chance. I don't know how he could say that. Yeah. So those are the updates. Brad Bradley is out there making the circuit. People are pulling up his background, digging into who he is. But I kind of feel like he brought, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. So, they also found a complaint that another woman had filed on Yellow prior to them sailing, where another woman let Royal Caribbean know they were uncomfortable with Yellow and Yellow making advances at them. But on his Twitter, he has shared some of the things people have sent to the family over the years. So yeah, so that's it. So that's where we are with Amy Bradley. At some point, I'm gonna have to put it down because I don't feel like there's anything new coming up, but I'm a person who likes to figure out things. I like a puzzle. So I've been trying to figure it out. I don't know what I think I'm going to do that the FBI can't do. But he said that right now he is reaching out to the president to ask the president if the FBI can reopen the case and, you know, look into it. So, yeah, that's the update. Nothing major, just that Brad is out there talking and he's trying to help, but I do think that he is hurting public perception of their family. And I'm still hoping that Amy Bradley is found and that she is okay and that she's safe. But I don't know, y'all. So that is it. We went over our 60 minutes. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I missed. Hey, Miss Faith. I'm trying to see if I missed any of y'all's comments about Amy. I think I got them all. Yeah, Lynette, there are multiple videos of him. So if you're interested, you all, listen, I met Ronnie on the ship. Thanks again, Kim. It was truly a pleasure meeting you on the group cruise. You gave me food for thought. Once again, I truly enjoyed your talk show. I met Ronnie on the cruise ship, and she was like, I love your talk show. And I was like, girl, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. The other channel that I said if you all ever see Queens Collaborative on your channel, that's me. If I know you have a channel, I try to watch your videos, try to subscribe. If I don't know you have a channel, I can't support you. So if you have a channel, let me know. But that YouTube was something that I was doing for a particular thing. I was doing training on a business topic on that channel, and it had over 5,000 subscribers, but it was not monetized. I never monetized it because the business topic I was training on, policies and procedures said that I could not monetize it for that purpose. So I never monetized that channel. And I just took all the videos down, and I only used it because they were business topics on a particular topic, you know, very specific subject. So I took all the videos down, and I just use it now to watch YouTube from. But I changed it because it used to just be my name. The name of that channel used to just be my name. But I changed it to Queens Collaborative because I had a vision to do a podcast where I interview different queens who achieve success in certain areas or overcome certain objects because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of their testimony. And I felt like it would be helpful to other women to hear how other women were able to maneuver and overcome and conquer and become victorious in certain areas. And I never did it, but if you ever see that channel, that's me. I was trying to tell Mickey, I was like, Mickey, this is Kim. She was probably like, okay, who is Kim? So if you ever see that channel, Queens Collaborative, that's me. I may one day do something with that channel, but I don't know. So, but if I ever, you see a subscriber from Queens Collaborative, that's me. And if I'm ever talking to you, that's me, just so you know. Because I don't really do anything on this channel but my own content. I watch everything on the other channel. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. This video is brought to you by Kim After 50. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it so much. And I will see you all Sunday where we just chit chat. And then next week for another Warm Topic Wednesdays. Special Nurse, you have a channel? Let me see. If you have a channel, tell me. Y'all can tell me now, because I have my iPad up here and it's logged into my other thing. Hold on. Special Nurse. Let me see. Special Nurse channel. Thank you so much. Special Nurse, you're not coming up. I'll have to go to it from here. I have to go to it from here. All right. So again, subscribe to If You Seek Amy. Check her out. If You Seek Amy and Mickey's Adventures. I think that's the name of Mickey's channels. And go check her out too. I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. Maybe on a cruise ship somewhere or somewhere else around this big, beautiful world. Bye-bye.